What if I told you that a single old photograph could make you laugh, cry, and then leave you completely silent? What if looking at a picture could hurt more than the memory itself? Today, we're diving into one of the most emotional poems in your Class 11 syllabus, A Photograph by Shirley Toulson, where three layers of time collide, and loss speaks louder than words ever could. Stay with me, every single line of this poem is a good punch. Let's break it down. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, Dilly Teacher. Context before we begin. Before we jump in, understand this. This poem operates on three levels of time. Time 1. The photograph was taken, the mother is a young girl of about 12, at a beach holiday. Time 2. 20 or 30 years later, the mother, now an adult, looks at the photograph and laughs at how she looked. Time 3. The present, the mother is dead. The poet, her daughter, looks at the same photograph and feels a deep, unspoken grief. The poem is about the silence that death leaves behind. Keep this in your mind. Now let's go line by line. Stanza 1. The photograph speaks. Line. The cardboard shows me how it was. All right, first line. The cardboard shows me how it was. Now, why does she say cardboard and not photograph? Think about it. Old photographs used to be mounted on thick cardboard backing. So she's holding this old, physical, mounted photograph. The word cardboard immediately tells you this is OLD. This is from a time long gone. She says it shows me how it was. The photograph is like a window into the past. It's the only proof she has of a time she never saw herself. The photograph is doing the storytelling here, not the mother, because the mother is no longer alive to tell the story. Line. When the two girl cousins went paddling. Two girl cousins went paddling. Now, paddling, what does it mean? It means walking barefoot in shallow water at the beach, splashing around. It's a playful, childish activity. The poet's mother had gone to the beach with her two cousins. Notice the innocence here. These are children having fun. No worries, no grief, just pure joy. Line. Each one holding one of my mother's hands. Beautiful detail. The two cousins are each holding one hand of the poet's mother. So the mother is in the middle. This tells us two things. 1. The mother was probably the eldest or the tallest among them. And 2, there's a sense of closeness, affection, and bonding. They're holding hands like children do. It paints a picture of warmth and togetherness. Line. And she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. The big girl, so the mother was the oldest of the three. Some 12 years or so, the poet is guessing the age because she wasn't born yet. She's reconstructing her mother's childhood from a photograph. She never witnessed this moment. The only evidence is this picture. That's already a little heartbreaking, isn't it? She's trying to know her mother's past through a frozen image. Line. All three stood still to smile through their hair. This is such a vivid line. Stood still to smile, they posed for the camera. They stopped their playing, stood still, and smiled. But through their hair, the sea wind is blowing their hair across their faces. So they're smiling through the hair that's flying everywhere. Can you picture it? It's messy, natural, real. This is not a staged studio photo. This is a candid, windy beach moment. The hair in their faces makes it imperfect and human and alive. Line. At the uncle with the camera. So who's taking the photo? An uncle. The uncle with the camera, said very casually, almost like this uncle's identity is defined by the fact that he had a camera. Back in those days, cameras were rare. Not everyone had one. So the uncle with the camera was probably the designated family photographer. Notice how the poet doesn't name anyone. Not the cousins, not the uncle. They're all unnamed. The focus is entirely on the mother. Line. A sweet face, just 3 words. A sweet face. But oh, how much weight they carry. The poet looks at the photograph and sees her mother's young, innocent 12-year-old face and calls it sweet. There's tenderness here. There's love. There's also pain, because this sweet face is gone forever. The simplicity of this line makes it more emotional, not less. Sometimes the shortest sentences hit the hardest. Line. My mother's, that was before I was born. My mother's, she's claiming that sweet face. That's my mother. That was before I was born. This is crucial. The poet is looking at a version of her mother that existed before the poet even came into the world. She's seeing a stranger in some ways, a girl she never knew, a child version of the woman who would become her mother. There's a gap between the mother's childhood and the poet's existence, and the photograph is the only bridge across that gap. Line. And the sea, which appears to have changed less. Now the poet makes a brilliant observation. She says the sea appears to have changed less. Less than what? Less than the people. The sea looks the same as it did decades ago. The waves still crash, the water still sparkles. But the people? The girl cousins have grown old. The uncle is probably gone. And the mother, the sweet-faced 12-year-old, is dead. Nature endures. Humans don't. The sea is permanent. Human life is temporary. This contrast is devastating. Line. Washed their terribly transient feet. Washed the sea, washed over their feet as they paddled. Simple enough. Transient means temporary, short-lived, not lasting. Terribly, this word is the key. It doesn't mean badly. It means extremely, or frighteningly. Their transience is terrible. It's frightening how temporary human life is. So the sea, ancient, unchanging, eternal, washed over feet that would one day cease to exist. The same waves are still there. The feet are gone. The sea doesn't care. It just keeps washing the shore, whether the people are alive or dead. This is the poem's central metaphor, the permanence of nature versus the impermanence of human life. Stanza 2. The mother laughs. Line. Some 20-30 years later. Time jump. Some 20-30 years later. Notice the dashes. The poet isn't sure of the exact number. It's approximate. This casualness is deliberate. It shows that time has blurred. Exact years don't matter. What matters is that a lot of time has passed. The 12-year-old girl is now a woman in her 30s or 40s. She's now a mother herself, the poet's mother. Line. She'd laugh at the snapshot. See, Betty? She'd laugh. The mother used to laugh. She'd equals she would. This is habitual past tense. It wasn't a one-time thing. She would repeatedly take out this photograph and laugh at it. The snapshot, another word for photograph, but snapshot implies a quick, casual, candid photo, not a formal portrait. And she says, see, Betty. She's showing the photo to her daughter, the poet, and pointing out the people in it. Betty is one of the cousins. Line. And Dolly, she'd say. And look how they, and Dolly, the other cousin. So now we get names. Betty and Dolly were the two girl cousins. The mother is nostalgically identifying the people in the photograph. She's reliving her childhood through this image. And look how she's drawing attention to something funny about how Betty and Dolly looked. Line. Dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday. Dressed us for the beach. And here's why the mother is laughing. She's laughing at the clothes. The way their parents or elders dressed them for the beach was apparently funny by modern standards. Old-fashioned beachwear. Probably overdressed, maybe uncomfortable. It's the kind of thing every generation laughs at. Can you believe we wore that? It's a warm, nostalgic laugh, not a mocking one. The sea holiday, the beach trip, is fondly remembered as the sea holiday. Line. Was her past, mine is her laughter. This is one of the most important lines in the poem. The mother's past equals the sea holiday, the actual event on the beach. The poet's past equals the mother's laughter. Not the beach, but the memory of the mother laughing about the beach. The poet never experienced the beach holiday. She only experienced her mother laughing about it. So the poet's nostalgia is one step removed. She's nostalgic not for the beach, but for the moment her mother was nostalgic about the beach. It's a memory of a memory, a loss within a loss, layers upon layers. This is incredibly profound. Line. Both rye, both rye, both what are rye, both the sea holiday, the mother's past, and the laughter, the poet's past. Wry means having a slightly twisted, bittersweet quality humor mixed with sadness. The mother's laughter at the old photo was wry because she was laughing at a time that was gone forever. And the poet's memory of that laughter is wry because the laughing mother is also gone forever. Both memories are tinged with loss. Line. With the labored ease of loss. Here's the meaning. When you lose someone, over time, you learn to deal with the loss. It becomes easy in the sense that it becomes routine. You get used to the absence. But it's still labored, it still takes effort, it still hurts underneath. The grief becomes a familiar weight. You carry it with practiced ease, but it's still heavy. It's the paradox of long-term grief. It becomes normal, but it never becomes painless. Stanza 3. The silence line. Now she's been dead nearly as many years. The final stanza, and the tone shifts completely. No more laughter, no more beach memories, just cold reality. Now she's been dead nearly as many years. The mother has been dead for almost as long as the gap between the photograph and the time she used to laugh at it, 20 to 30 years. So the mother has been dead for roughly 20 to 30 years. That's a long time. The poet has lived a significant portion of her life without her mother. Line. As that girl lived. As that girl lived. Which girl? The 12-year-old in the photograph the mother as a child. The mother has now been dead for nearly as long as that girl lived as a full human being. Let's say the mother died at 40 and has been dead for 30 years. The girl in the photo lived about 40 years total. Line. And of this circumstance. This circumstance, what circumstance? The circumstance of the mother's death. The fact that she's gone. The entirety of this situation. The loss. The absence. The void. Line. There is nothing to say at all. There is nothing to say at all. The poet is speechless. Not because she doesn't feel anything, but because she feels too much. Grief, at its deepest, goes beyond words. You can't describe it. You can't articulate it. Language fails. Poetry fails. Line. Its silence silences. The last line, the most powerful line. Its silence silences. Let's break this down grammatically. Its equals deaths or the circumstances. Silence noun equals the quiet left behind by death. Silence's verb equals actively makes the poet silent. Death is silent, the dead don't speak. And that silence of death silences the living. The poet cannot speak about it. Words become useless. And notice the poem doesn't end with a period of sadness or a dramatic cry. It ends with silence. That's the final image. Not tears, not screaming, just nothing. And that nothing says everything. So the next time you hold an old photograph of someone you love, remember you're not just holding a picture. You're holding a moment that will never come back. Of a person whose laughter you might one day desperately try to remember. Shirley Toulson taught us that some losses are so deep they can only be expressed through silence. And that silence? It silences us all.